So this is Chapter 1, Section 1, and we're going to learn a bunch of definitions in here about points, lines, and planes. So the first one is the definition of a point. And a point is a single dot. It's the simplest figure in geometry. It can be named with a capital letter. And all geometric figures consist of points. So generally, if you saw this on a coordinate plane or something, like if it was graphed, there would be a single dot, and a lot of times they would put a capital letter next to it. Let me see if I can not highlight this. All right. Keep in mind, you also need to know that a single point has no dimension. So we're going to talk about single dimension, two-dimensional figures, but a point has no dimension. Let's try the next one. The next is the definition of a line. And a line is a geometric figure consisting of at least 2 points extending in 2 directions without ending. It can be named by 2 points or a single lowercase letter. Through any 2 points, there is exactly 1 line. So a line has 1 dimension. Now, this whole basic of geometry is going to be important, because when you're answering a question, if you do not name the answer appropriately, you're going to lose points. So for example, if the question asked, name a line, you either have to write the word line and then 2 points that are on that line, or if there's a lowercase letter, see this cursive L here, or this italicized L, you can also name a line with a lowercase letter. You can also name a line by putting 2 points that are on it and then drawing a picture of a line on top of the capital letters. These are 3 ways to name a line. If on your paper, if you just put the letters A, B, you would lose points, because this indicates to me that this is a line segment and not a line. And we're going to see about segments and rays coming up. So it would be very important that you draw a picture of a line on top. Notice the arrows on either end indicate that it doesn't end. It goes on forever. Pretty good on the line slide. Let's go on to planes. So a plane is a geometric plane is suggested by a floor, a wall, or a tabletop. So when I'm in my classroom and I'm trying to demonstrate 2 intersections or an intersection of 2 planes, I talk about like the ceiling and a wall. And then where the ceiling and the wall meet, that's going to be their intersection. So a plane is usually represented by a rectangle. So you could represent a plane this way. You could also represent it as a parallelogram. But just keep in mind that because I can't draw that this is going forever, just know that it extends without ending and it has no thickness. So although it has no edges, it's usually shown as some type of quadrilateral, whether it's a rectangle, a parallelogram, but you just have to imagine that it doesn't have a thickness to it and it keeps on going forever. You can name a plane by a single capital letter, so there won't be a point next to it. Usually it's in cursive or in italics, or 3 or more points that are on that plane. So let's say I went ahead and added 3 points on here. I call them A, B, C. I can also name this plane, let me do it in a darker color, plane ABC. So if you have a capital letter in your plane that doesn't have a point next to it, that's how you can name your plane. Or if there are 3 points that aren't on the same line, you can also name a plane that way. A plane is 2-dimensional, has 2 dimensions. Pretty good? Anybody still need it? All right, next slide is talking about space, collinear, and coplanar. So space is defined as the set of all points. Collinear means points on one line. So for example, if I were to draw a line, and if I were to put some points on here, I could state that points A, B, C are collinear because they're all on the same line. When I have points that are on the same plane, again, I could draw my plane as a rectangle or a parallelogram, and I could put some points on here. I could call them D, E, F, and I could say that points D, I'll do this thing red, D, E, F, I could say they are coplanar because they're all on the same plane. Non-coplanar points are points that aren't on the same plane. So let's say if you think about this piece of paper, okay, keep in mind that this piece of paper would continue and keep going, but let's say I had a point up above it, then that would not be in the same plane. So like you could draw your plane, and then you could pretend like this is up here, and this would be a point that wouldn't be. So I could call this X, Y, Z, and I could put W. And then W would not be in that plane. So that would be an example of non-coplanar. So I could say W, X, and Y are non-coplanar because W isn't on the plane. It's not in that quadrilateral shape. The next vocabulary term we're going to talk about are segments. Everybody good on this one? Now again, remember, if I'm going too fast, just tell me, wait a minute, I'm still writing, and I can wait. Okay, the next one is a segment. So the line segment AB or segment AB consists of endpoints A and B and all points on AB that are between A and B. So for example, if you have a line and you have 2 points, and let's say I say A and B, when you have a line segment, what you're doing is you're taking away the arrows, and it stops. If I had another point in between here, you could say that C is on that segment. So A and B are called endpoints. So a segment stops. Now, generally the way that you would write a segment is you would put the 2 capital letters, and then you would just put a bar on top, no arrows. Sometime you're also going to see a segment as just 2 capital letters. So this would be the one where you wouldn't need to put the bar on top. However, if you're talking about a line, you need the picture of the line on top. Now, let's say you blank out and you're like, uh-oh, I forget what the picture looks like. You can always write out the word segment and then give me the 2 endpoints. Same thing here for line. You could also write out the word line in front of the 2 letters. But once you get used to the symbols, it's pretty easy. You just draw a picture of what you're talking about. Now, when we're talking about a line or a line or a segment, the order of the letters is not important. So for example, if I were talking about, I can go back to this line first. I can name this red line either AB, or I could also call it BA. The order doesn't matter. Same thing for the segment. I could call this segment AB, or I could call it BA. The order of the letters doesn't matter. However, when we get to raise, which is the next slide, the order of the letters is important to us. So we must put them in the correct order. So again, this is a lot of memorization. Everybody good on this slide? Okay.
I'm still ready.
Okay, just let me know when you're ready.
Wait, could you repeat what you said? The last thing you said? You said with segments, it doesn't matter which order the letters are?
Correct. Right. So for lines and segments, the order of the letters is not important. But the next slide, when we talk about raise, it will be important. And I might talk about that in a minute. So you can list the order of the letters either way here. A, B, or B, A.
I'm done writing.
Okay, good. Anybody else still need it? All right, let's try the next one. Talk about raise. So array is written as capital A, or whatever letters are in your picture. But you would put 2 capital letters, and then you're going to draw a picture of an arrow on top. You'll only have an arrow on one end of it. This is the end point, and where the arrow is the unending. So it starts at point A, and it continues on unending in the direction of B. Now here, this one's starting at B, and it's going in the direction of A. So notice this one is written as B first and then the A. So this one is for AB, but this one, where it starts at B and it goes in the direction of A. Now you could have also done the BA this way. It doesn't have to point into the direction that the arrow goes doesn't matter. It's wherever the end point starts, that's the first letter, and then the point that's closer to the arrow is the second letter. So again, this would be B, because that's where it starts, and it goes to A. So the order here is important. The first letter you write is the piece that doesn't have the arrow. Everybody good on this? Okay. Now we're going to talk about opposite rays. So for opposite rays, if point C, which is here, lies on line AB between A and B, then from CA, this ray, and then from C to B, this ray are called opposite rays. Notice the first letter in each of the rays is the same. Opposite rays share an endpoint and point in opposite directions. So this letter that they both have in common, this is your endpoint. So it's really your starting point if you want to think of it that way. So you could draw a ray this way from C to A, and then you can draw another ray going this way, and this forms opposite rays. It's going to form a straight line. So again, C is my starting point or my end point, and it goes to A, and then C is my starting point and it goes to B. And these are opposite rays. Pretty good?
Almost.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
So would those opposite rays all be collinear?
Yes. Yes, these would be collinear points. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else still need it? Okay, let's talk about intersections. Are you good, Kimberly?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, all right, intersections. So intersect means to meet or cut through. Intersection of two figures is the set of points that are in both figures. Dashes in a diagram indicate the parts that are hidden from view. Now, we're not going to be actually drawing anything for a grade in this class. So you don't have to worry about precise, but you know, it'll help you to draw some things yourself, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Does that make sense? Okay, so on this picture, these are two planes, because remember, a plane is represented like a rectangle or a parallelogram. So if you notice this dashed back here, this would be something that if this plane right here wasn't see-through, you wouldn't be able to see what was underneath it. And that's what they mean by the dashes, or would be something you can't see.
I can't see what you're doing on your iPad. It shows canvas.
Okay, let me see. How about now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Yeah, if ever that happens again, just let me know, or especially if my sound goes out, just let me know so I can, I don't know, sometimes the Wi-Fi keeps dropping and then it kicks me off. Okay, so this would be an intersection of two planes. The intersection of two planes is always going to be a line, and we're going to learn this later on, but this is where they're intersecting right here. If you have two lines that intersect, their intersection is always going to be a point. And we're going to see that coming up. Okay, we'll cover that probably in another lesson. Right now we're just understanding what an intersection is. If you think about it, like when you're driving in your car and the intersection of two roads, okay, that's usually where there's a stoplight or a four-way stop. that's an intersection, and it's where the two roads are like the same piece of road. Does that make sense? So like here, it's the same points that are in common. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is true, false. Sometimes on your tests and quizzes, you're gonna get true, false questions. You'll also probably get these wonderful questions. We don't have any here in the notes. There might be some in the homework or the next night's homework. There's sometimes always or never questions. And once we start encountering those are sort of like true, false questions on steroids. They're a little bit more challenging, okay? But the true, false, that's what we're gonna do on this page. Now, if you're ever asked a question and a picture is not provided, sometimes it helps to draw yourself a picture and give yourself a little visual. Again, I'm not going to ask you to draw any precise figures, but just understand what it should look like. So for example, the first one, it says line PF ends at point P. So for this one, maybe it might help me if I draw a line. And let's say I put some points on here. So does line PF end at point P? True or false? Anybody you can unmute. False. It's false. Why?
Because there's no endpoint.
Good. Lines don't end. Okay, so this is false. Notice the arrows that I drew on the end of my line. So a line doesn't end, so this one is false.
I can't see your canvas.
Okay.
I can't see your canvas.
Okay. Is anybody else not able to see it? Can you guys see it? Yes?
No, not yet.
Okay, it might be something on your end. Maybe try to refresh your screen. Everybody else can see it, correct? Okay, everybody else is seeing it. So I think it's something on your end. Maybe it's your Wi-Fi, maybe it is slowing, I don't know. What is it showing?
Just you.
Just me. It happened to somebody earlier and they clicked on something and it came back. Anybody know how to fix that problem? Still can't see it?
In like the top of the left corner on the top, it says like switch back to share screen or something.
Try that.
Like swap shared screen with video, there's a button that says that if you run your mouse over it.
Yeah, click it and it should go back.
On the left corner?
Yeah, like in the top though.
Where it says leave?
No, it should say like, I don't know, like in the left top corner it says like switch back to share screen.
No. You can see it. It just says switch camera.
Oh, man, I don't know.
What if I leave and come back?
Okay, you can try that. I'll let you in when you get to the waiting room.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so the next one. Point S is on an infinite number of lines. What do you guys think? True or false?
I think it's false.
Okay, so let's try to draw a picture. So if we have point S, and I can draw a line through here, right? All right, let me let her in. Hold on. Sorry. right, can you see my iPad screen still?
Yeah, I got it now.
Okay, perfect. All right, so point S, if I draw it here, we know we could draw this line through it, right? Then I could also draw a line this way. And I can draw another one this way. Now, obviously, I can't draw an infinite number of lines, but just know that this is true, that you could draw an infinite number of lines, because you could go in diagonally, you could go straight across, even though you couldn't actually probably draw in an infinite number of lines on your paper, there is an infinite number of lines that go through any point. What about a plane has no thickness? True or false?
About number 2.
True.
True, it's right from the slide, good. Okay, collinear points are coplanar.
False.
Okay, let's draw some collinear points. I could also draw a plane around that line. So this would be true. So collinear points are always going to be coplanar. Planes have edges. Does the plane stop?
False.
Good, false. Two planes intersect at a line segment. This one's false.
False.
Okay? If it said two planes intersect at a line, then it would be true. Because remember, planes do not end. So this is why their intersection is a line.
What?
Two intersecting lines meet at in exactly one point.
Take a picture.
So let's draw two lines.
True.
True. Points have no size.
True.
Good. Line XY could be written as or denoted as XY with an arrow or YX with a picture of a line on top.
True.
True. The order doesn't matter when we write the order of the letters for a line. The only time it matters is when we're writing for array. Now the next slide, it's true-false questions, but they're giving us a picture this time. Pretty good on this slide, example 1? Let's go. All right, so now it's asking us to use the diagram. So it's asking us, is P in plane M? Well, here's plane M. And point P is down here. Is it in M?
False. No.
False. Good.
False.
How about line B? Is it in M?
Yes.
Yes. That one's true. Line XY contains point P.
False. False.
Good. Plane M contains line YX.
True.
That's
True.
true. Good. A is on line B. So here's A.
True.
True. Good. It's a lot easier when there's a picture, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. A and P are in M.
False.
Good.
False.
False.
Because P's down here and it's not in M. Okay? And then N contains P. So here's N.
True.
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 Good. All right. You guys are good. All right. So that is the end of the notes for section 1. Remember, you need to turn your completed notes into Canvas before 12:30. Now I'm going to show you the homework. So again, if you go to Canvas, you can open up the assignment